Anthropic just released their new model. Let's talk about it and how it'll affect you. I'm not going to get into like this super nerdy, every single benchmark stuff. I think that we just care, will this make me better at generating code? Will this make our agents better? So we'll go through some of the opinions that people are having online of their first impressions, and then I'm going to do a little test. So first off, Aider came out with their updated leaderboard. So if you're not familiar with Aider, you can check out my other videos, but it's a really good agent for coding. And it looks like Claude 3.5 came in fourth on the coding leaderboard, 75%. So just behind 3.5 Sonnet. Now you're probably wondering, why would they release a model that is actually worse than the previous ones? It's because it's supposed to be cheaper. So you have, in the OpenAI world, you have 4.0, 4.0 mini. There's typically kind of like this sidekick, smaller model that is more cost effective. Now, what's ironic about that is, this thing's performing well. It's better than a lot of the models out there, but people are getting a lot of complaint around the price being too high for this type of, not leading model. So we obviously know that 3.5 Sonnet's the best, no doubt there. But yeah, so that's what they were saying. And then on the LLM for reasoning benchmark, which reasoning is chain of thought, so you can think of like O1 preview, it actually did really well. You still would expect it to not be as good as the flagship, really expensive models. And then up next, you can see some of the nice stuff that the Replit folks said. They said it's validating that it's making these really awesome leaps. So yeah, it's better than the previous one. And then underperforms May's Gemini Flash and is 13 times costlier. So that's sort of what I was getting at there, was a lot of complaints around that. And you can see how people are benchmarking it. I'll put these links in the description so you can check them out on your own. But let's do our own little test. So what I want to do is, I have a bunch of these different prompts, and I'll put them in the description below. But let's use one for generating a pixel perfect clone. So I have this prompt, and let's just try that out, and we'll do it with two different components, or one component, two different models. And then after that, we'll actually go through and see how fast it can build this. So the first test, we'll do a component copy. And then the second test, we'll actually try to one-shot this web app that allows you to see different foods and how the ingredient set has changed over time, with the fact that it took about 9 tries to get it to where this is, using Sonnet, the latest one. So I don't really expect it to outperform that one. And we'll use the same prompt there. So let's just say, this was actually someone else's test, was build me a floating city above you, make it vibrant and beautiful. You know what? We're doing a third test. So let's try this. We're going to build a floating city above you and see. Okay, never mind. We're not doing that. Doesn't even want to. So let's try that carbon copy. So what I'll do is, with Sonnet, I'll grab this. And then let's grab something cool looking. How about the v0.dev? Okay. Yeah, let's find a decent looking hero section in dark mode. Yeah, let's try this. So, wow, it took 22 on v0.dev. Let's grab this. And we're going to see what Sonnet comes up with for that. And below it, what we can do is open another one. Switch it over to Haiku. Paste the image. Paste the prompt. And see. So again, on the bottom, we have Haiku And on the top, we have the latest. So, wow. I do not have... Okay. Interesting. So it wouldn't even start with Haiku. That's kind of weird. But here, we have these nice animations. Let's see if I can't make this bigger. So it definitely did a better job, as you would expect, with Sonnet. But what is strange, and it has this kind of nice animation. They probably used Framer, I'm guessing. Yeah, Framer. But with Haiku, it won't even try. Clear sections, I'm happy to discuss. This is not interesting. Just do it anyways. Let's see. Huh. Weird. Okay. Well, that's a fail on their part. Very weird. I won't even do it. Okay. Let's try something else. Let's see how it does. What I like to do when I'm building something new, like a little web app like I showed you here, is, let's see. For example, with this one, what I'll do is I have the little process. So I'll come in and I'll start by saying, hey, act as the software architect. And this is coming from Aider and from really just the best pattern that I've found with AI coding is you start with planning. If you do want the Aider one, you can just type in Aider chat and you can go to their GitHub and then you can actually get theirs. So if I just type in architect, so this is a really good one. And in this case, what I would typically do is I'd come in and if I want to make something, I'll act as the architect and then it'll come up with some ideas. It'll give me the data structures, all this. Let's see if it can go through this same process with Haiku. So let's see if I give the exact same prompts, how it will operate. Oops. Haiku. Interesting. Okay. It's going a different route with this. You can kind of compare the examples, right? So on Haiku, you get this markdown. On Sonnet, it breaks it between both markdown, code snippets, and explanations. So again, you would expect it to be better, but let's keep going. So then I'll ask for the markdown. Actually, break out all these steps we need. Break out all the steps we need to take to implement this step by step. Your output is a guide for an editing or a programmer. So I want to kind of skip all this fluff because it went straight to the markdown. So I just want to see like how it thinks. So it's going for this. It's saying, okay, we need to make this data model, build this API. Okay, pretty good. Let's stick to TypeScript, Next 15, React 19, Tailwind. Update the plan. Superbase for Postgres, DB. Tailwind. Update the plan. And we're going off script from the original one, right? Because it went totally sideways on the way. Not necessarily sideways. Doesn't mean that it's bad that it's going this way, but it's definitely different. Okay, so we got a network connection. Let's try that again. So generate the step-by-step instructions. Okay. It's definitely quicker. Yeah, so I can already tell. I mean, I wouldn't use this. I don't have a need for this one. I think it's just if you have like a ton of documentation, like this would probably be better for what I call like a documentation agent. So you could ideally give it access in Cursor to a URL and say, hey, go read through this. Don't miss anything. And turn it from a website of documentation into a really well formatted markdown file with helpful snippets and all that. But how about this? Now build it. Okay, it's saying it can't make the components for it in one TSX file. Will it do it? Okay, it's doing something. Omit next router and superbase stuff so we can see it in the artifact viewer. Again, very quick, which is nice. But it didn't render it. Huh. Let's look at the code. So it's defining the products, it's defining the ingredient history. If we comp that against ours here, okay. Again, bottom one works. Yeah. This is just not even close to as good. So those are my first impressions and a bunch of different people's opinions on it. What I would maybe do next is there's a workflow that you can do with this product called make.com, and it would just allow you as a non-developer to go in and basically send a bunch of requests. Oops. You can just do a drag and drop. It's kind of like Zapier, but you can say, hey, I want to call this model and do this task and try a writing task and have it run on a loop like 20 times and have it spit into a spreadsheet. And I find that that is a really easy way to do evals because I'm not a big Python guy. I don't have a background in that, but makes pretty great for that. And so that would be something that I would do. But those are my first impressions on it. Hope this video is helpful, and make sure you like the video and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.